Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video will be about my RBI Grade B experience of 2023. I'll be sharing my transcript in this video and my general feeling what I have with regards to the interview process of RBI. I have faced this interview process twice consecutively, and I have also failed in it twice. So I have some feedback which I think I'll want to share with all of you, and I hope this video will be of value addition to you. Frankly, this is one such video about which I am not very enthusiastic while making it. The reason it is obvious that it reminds me of those times which has been a very depressing period in my life. Although it's very recent, like hardly 25 days ago, the results were declared. But gradually I am starting to move on from the result. Anyway, let's begin the video. So my interview was scheduled in Kolkata in October, and the process of document verification, biometric attendance, everything was same as compared to last year. There is slight update with regards to NOC because personally I've always faced issue with regards to NOC, and nobody gave me clarity whether to take NOC or whether I can skip NOC, what should be the process. So, although it's clearly mentioned in the call letter, so if you have given intimation to your employer, and this is applicable only for those people who are working in government establishments like PSU, PSB, or their central government employees, state government employees, so they are required to produce NOC before appearing in the interview if they have not given intimation to their employer while filling the form. If you have given the intimation, NOC is not required, and there is no proof of that intimation that you need to show to the RBI. So you can just verbally tell them that you have given the intimation and that should be sufficient. The only issue is at the time of joining the RBI, you need to get the relieving letter on time. So that is the only purpose of NOC. And no vigilance case or any departmental inquiry shall be pending on you. So this is the general terms and conditions with regard to NOC. Now coming back to the interview experience. So my serial number was 12th on that day, and my interview started at around 12:55 p.m. So I was called. When I was called, so I entered the room. I asked for their permission and wished them all. I took the seat, thanked them for offering me the seat, and then the interview started. So there were six members in the panel. The chairman sir was in the center, and on his left side there were two members. On his right, three members. So total six members were there. One female member and five male members were there in the panel. In the very beginning, the chairman sir he read out my biodata form for around 30 seconds. So he just read out where I am from and where I have studied, what I have studied, where all I have worked. So he asked me that you are from a certain place. So I told them no, sir, I work at that place. I'm not born over there. Then his first question was that you have worked in private sector, then you have moved on to public sector. You're working in your core field, what you have studied. So why you want to switch to RBI? So I had prepared this answer very well, and I could speak on this for at least 2 to 3 minutes, but I had thought that I'll speak for only 30 seconds, so I compressed a lot of points. So I told him, so to summarize, I told him that I'm looking for a better career growth and I'll get that in Reserve Bank of India compared to my current organization. And then I told him how my skills are suitable to this profile. So this profile mapping exercise I did based on my resume or biodata, and what are the skills which are required in the different departments of RBI, which one will be posted in after he's selected. So I did that skill mapping exercise beforehand, and accordingly I pitched myself over there. So while I was finishing the answer, I was interrupted by one of the members. So he told me, no, what you are telling, these are all soft skills which are easy to learn, anyone can learn. What what technical experience you'll be bringing in, because you come from a completely different background which is not at all related to finance. You are from engineering background, and your technical skills, in my opinion, I don't think it will be useful in RBI. And how it will be useful to you? In response to this question, I explained him whatever I have learned over these years through different jobs. It is only because of my technical degree. I got that job because of that degree, and because of that degree, and along with the technical skills, I have learned many functional and managerial skills, which will be very helpful in any organization. So I told them like people management is one of the skills, and then there are other soft skills, communication skills, and softwares which I have learned. So I told them all these things. To which again he cross questioned, so are you telling that one needs to go to college only to learn soft skills and are technical skills of no use? To which I replied, sir, I do not agree with your statement that technical skills are of no use. I think if someone who has a special interest in pursuing career in technical line, it is very important for them, especially someone who wants to do PhD or research or go into research and development. And if someone wants to pursue their field in that particular line only, so it is very useful for them. Then he said okay, so, and then he moved on basically from that topic. Then the chairman sir again, he focused on my profile and he asked me another question regarding the PSU which I'm employed in, and he asked what commodity and all that PSU is in, and the future of that commodity. He asked whether India is import dependent or self-sufficient. What is the status? What is the future outlook? Then he asked question on steel industry also. Then future of steel industry considering the environment restrictions which are consistently becoming stricter. So I answered him all the different government schemes and mission which the government is working on to increase steel consumption in the country. So I think I answered this question fairly well. Next, another member started asking me a question, and his first question was regarding public debt management function of RBI. So he asked me what is this function and what does RBI do in this function. So I told him what RBI does. I told him, sir, RBI assesses the debt requirement of the government, then it issues securities on behalf of the government, repays the interest on the loans, and I also told that it manages whatever the surplus cash of the government is with RBI. So to which he said, except that issuing the security part, whatever you have said is not correct. So I think I mixed up the last part, that this thing of investing the surplus cash. So that thing is banker to the government function. So I think because of that, he said, and then they also said that RBI only does the merchant banking function, and it is not at all responsible for any of the other things which you said. So I came back and I checked the answer on this question, and yes, assessing the debt is not the part of RBI. I agree, but issuing the security is a part which they also agreed, and repaying the interest is also a part of debt management function of RBI, to which they were not agreeing. So partially I was also wrong, and partially they were also wrong. The next question he asked was with respect to CBDC. He asked me what is CBDC and how is it different from UPI. So I gave a very generic and standard answer. It is a virtual currency of central bank, which is a legal tender. It is different from UPI in the sense that it does not involve intermediation of bank in the transfer process, unlike UPI. Then he said, I'm looking for a certain word which highlights the main difference between UPI and CBDC. So I was not aware what word he was looking for. So I recalled and I told him, sir, so I think it's traceability. To which I was cross questioned that how are you telling traceability if something is in online wallet in CBDC? So don't you think it will be traceable? So I said, yes, sir, it will be traceable, but from the perspective of the bank, it will not be recorded in the bank statement. So that way, I think it will not be traceable. To then he responded, no, I am looking for the word anonymity. So I said, yes, sir, anonymity, you are right. Anonymity is also one of the features which distinguishes UPI with, sorry, with CBDC with UPI. And last question from his side was, am I giving any other exams? So I said, no, sir, I'm not appearing for any other exams. After that, the member sitting next to him, he said, I'll not be asking any questions to you. And then next question was asked by the ma'am, and her first question was, define a bank. My definition was, a bank was a financial intermediary which mobilizes the public savings into investment by giving credits to different sectors. So this was my answer. To which a member cross questioned that the same thing what you are telling is done by mutual funds and any other financial intermediary. So I told them, yes, you are correct, but they do not accept demand deposits. Then they said, okay. Then next question from ma'am was about PMC bank crisis. What is it and why did it happen? So I explained them the procedure, the modus operandi, what happened, how gross NPA ratio shot up, and what was the reason for that. Then the second question was followed was, do you think Reserve Bank of India was responsible for PMC bank crisis? So at that point of time, the way I answered it, it was implied that I was telling that there has been a regulatory, I'm sorry, supervisory flaw, and that is why this has happened. But I, at that point of time, I thought it was not wise to directly blame the Reserve Bank. So I took a very diplomatic stand on that question. I told her that, ma'am, I have not done that much in-depth analysis to blame Reserve Bank for this failure. And there was certain discussion among themselves in the panel regarding this topic, and that's all about it. And then she did not ask any more questions. The next member, he asked me questions, and he told me, tell me four parameters on which you will judge the health of a bank. So three of the parameters I told him was related to the prompt corrective action framework, what they look in a bank, and one more factor I told them. In a follow-up to this, they asked me what is the difference between gross NPA and net NPA. Although I know what the definition is and I was very clear, but somehow I don't know what I told them. Maybe I did not frame my words correctly, so they understood in a completely opposite way. So they told me, no, what you are telling is actually opposite. The definition of gross NPA is actually what you are telling. It is of net NPA. Then I said, okay, sir, maybe I got confused. And then chairman sir interrupted, and then he asked me a question, and then he told me, have you read a balance sheet? Do you know how to analyze balance sheet? And balance sheet accounting, these are the areas which I have never been comfortable with. I have not practiced a lot of questions also on these aspects. So I thought it's not an area of comfort for me. So I told him, sir, I have read for academic purpose, but practically or professionally, I have not done this analysis a lot. But anyway, he went ahead with the question, and he gave me four items. I think it was provisioning, it was accumulated profit, and one more item was there. He said these four items. He told me, place these items in the balance sheet or income statement or any other statement. Where are these items? Are these there even present or not? So you explain everything about it. So I was very overwhelmed with that question, and because I'm not very confident in this topic, balance sheets and all, so I told him, sir, I'm not very sure of this, what you are asking, so I'll not be able to answer. And to this, which he replied, that you want to join the central bank of the country and you're not aware of these financial concepts, so you should be reading more on this. To which I replied, yes, I definitely read more on this. So that was the last question. And then he said, thank you, all the best, you can go. So as soon as I came out of the interview hall, my overall impression was that the interview was pretty average. It was not extraordinary. It was not bad as it was in the last year. But I thought it has been average, and I was expecting around 45 to 50 marks in the interview, not more than that. But But also, I there was this thing in my head that because of the last question, it ended on a very bad note. What they were asking, I mean, it is ultimately a fundamental finance question. That is a different aspect that I am not very comfortable with it. But on the other side, I also used to think that because of one question or two questions that I could not answer, they should not be slaughtering me what they did in the last year. So I thought, taking a balanced approach, I thought it is an average interview and I will be getting around 45 to 50 marks. So this was my expectation from the interview. So when the results came and my roll number was not there in the list, I was pretty sure it is only because of the interview, because I was very fairly confident of my mains. I was expecting 190, 195, and I got 189.5, I think. So I was pretty confident with my mains score, but I knew that it is only because of interview. I'm not able to make it this time also. So personally, I do think initially when the result came, I was very frustrated and dejected after seeing what the result was. And there was a bit of anger, and now it's more of an acceptance of what has happened at this point of time. But I also feel that it is very difficult to say with surety that interview process is very transparent or they are fairly judging everyone on the same parameters, because whether one agrees this to or not, the question which I think, because of which my marks are pretty low, if it is asked to person from a certain background, so they'll be able to answer it in a much more comprehensive and better manner. So it's, of course, and if because of one question, if someone is slashing the score from like a good score to a very below average score of 32, so it just doesn't feel justified to me. I mean, I can be wrong, because I'm, in the end, I'm analyzing my interview myself, my marks myself, so it's, there are fair chances of biasness in my analysis. But I try to be very neutral by analyzing myself and my performances in any exam which I give. So this is all I have to say with regard to this exam and the interview process. But at present, it's more of an acceptance. There is nothing more what an aspirant can do. Yeah, because it's there's a lot of, I still say there's a lot of opaqueness, and considering the variance in the interview marks, I have seen this year only one of the mark sheets where in the mains the score was 205 and only 24 marks were required to get to the final list, and he was given 21. So this just doesn't make sense to me sometimes, this marking scheme. Like someone who is so brilliant scoring 205 and he's not even getting 25 marks in the interview, like one third. So these after seeing these kind of marks, and it's not like it has happened only once. It happened last year also, and there is not just one student, there are many such students. So this variation is really huge, and I think the board, they need to be more transparent in this regard, how they are doing the marking and what are the parameters they are seeing. Is it the only the knowledge what they want to check, or is it more than that? Is it the communication skill? Is it the other soft skills which they are focusing upon? So there, at least they should give some document in this regard, so there is more transparency in the interview process. So this is my personal opinion, and that is all I can give at this point of time. Anyway, I think I have told what I have to say, and I hope this video will be of some value addition to everyone who is watching. If you have any other queries with regard to interview process, you can definitely comment and I'll reply on it. Thank you.